And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. 40-year-old LaToya Harris and her boyfriend, 41-year-old Terrence Washington, are both behind bars in Louisiana tonight. They're likely on a path straight to hell, and you will agree. This is after Harris's 15-year-old daughter was severely abused by the couple at their home in Terrebonne Parish, just outside of New Orleans. How bad was the abuse? Investigators say Washington shot the teen on two different occasions with a shotgun, one time in the chest. Police say he also raped her, and in order to cover that crime up, the teen's mother set her on fire, blaming her, and also never getting her a treatment for the gunshot wounds. The damage was so bad the teenager lost half of her face and one of her eyes. She remains hospitalized after all of this was uncovered during a car accident in Baytown, nearly 300 miles from their home in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Ashlyn Brothers, who is a reporter for Fox 8 in New Orleans, WVUE-TV. Ashlyn, thank you for joining us. Such a tragic situation that we have here with this 15-year-old who is from Louisiana and, of course, got into an accident here. And that's why investigators found out that she was in distress and abused. But take us to the beginning. How did we get here?
Yeah, so, initially what police say is that this had been going on for months, right? The alleged abuse, the buried abuse, if you will, had been going on dating back to around February, what we call carnival season, when police say that there was distress within the household.
And
right?
of course, we're talking about her mother and her mother's boyfriend.
Yes. So she lived in a home with them. And from what I've been told by relatives, she had moved in about a year and a half before these incidents. So she hadn't been living there for too long. But what we've been told by police is that that's when, things started to go awry. That's when police say that the boyfriend admitted to sexually abusing the girl on numerous accounts, right? And then at that point, police say that the mother then burned the girl, and the police say that this was something that she was doing as a sort of cover-up for what had happened. Police also say that the mother blamed the 15-year-old for the incidents that had occurred. It wasn't until the shooting incident where police say that the boyfriend shot the 15-year-old on two different occasions that then they took off for Texas.
That is incredible. So the mother burned the girl, according to police, in order to cover up her being sexually assaulted by her boyfriend, according to investigators, right?
That is, to my understanding, I would have to check back with that. But yes, that to my understanding, that's what police say.
Do we know who the 15-year-old was living with before she went back to the home with her mother and her mother's boyfriend? Who was she living with then?
So here at my station, we've been very delicate with how we've been phrasing this, and we have spoken with the relatives who she was living with before. We have decided to call them relatives, very close family members. Yeah.
And they're the couple that you guys interviewed and said, the communications was fine, and then it became few and far in between from calls to text messages, and then she just disappeared.
Yeah, and what these family members say is when they started cutting off communication, or rather when the teen stopped being as responsive, they say after revisiting with this teen once she was in the hospital, they say she was terrified, that she was scared, alleging that the two who are accused of these heinous crimes were sort of feeding her false information about what what might happen if she were to come forward.
Wow. And so they left Louisiana and came to Texas in fear that he would be arrested for harming her. And then they got into an accident here in Texas in an area we call Baytown, just outside of Houston, where then investigators, CPS Child Protective Services, saw the girl and notified other family members and said, you know, you need to, and the hospital saying you need to prepare yourself. Just how bad was this child, Ashlyn, as far as the abuse and the injuries that she sustained? I believe she lost an eye, right, as well?
Yeah, so they had to remove an eye. So they're working to try and get a prosthetic for her. Several face injuries. From the pictures that I saw, we didn't share on air just because they're that graphic. Half of her face is burned off. There's no skin. You know, police say that she had suffered a gunshot wound to her chest and to her face.
Oh
So
my God.
there's that as well. And then, you know, they say that the mother had refused to take the daughter to treatment at a hospital, but treated the burns. However, police say that they did not treat the gunshot wounds. So you can imagine what state she was in, having not received any sort of treatment for those.
And we're talking about a 15-year-old girl. That is a nightmare to go through that, to endure something like that at such a young age and at the hands, allegedly, according to investigators, at the hands of your mother, and she allowed someone to abuse you. It's just mind-blowing. Ashlyn Brothers from Fox 8, WPUE, great job in reporting this story. Such a tragedy. But thank you for sharing it with us. We need to make people aware that things like this still exist, where a mother could allegedly sacrifice their child for a boyfriend.